happens from here on? Because the Election Commission will ultimately have to get involved as well. An MP has been suspended, so a by-poll will need to be called. So far, the Election Commission has not moved. I want to understand what the Election Commission needs to look at before calling a by-poll. And will they be cautious this time? I have S.Y. Qureshi, former CEC, joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Qureshi, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. It's important for us to understand what the Election Commission does now. Because you know, since yesterday, what is being said is now a by-poll will need to be called in Wayanad. Will the Election Commission rush into it, or wait till Rahul Gandhi seeks legal redressal?
When a vacancy occurs in Parliament or in Vidhan Sabha, Election Commission has full 6 months of discretion to decide the date. And what happens is that they wait for other vacancies to happen and they club the elections together. So 6 months, there is no reason for Election Commission to act in a hurry. However, not very long ago, in a Lakshadweep case 3-4 months ago, when an MP was disqualified, within 24 hours, I read it in today's paper, the MP's statement from Lakshadweep, that within 24 hours, Lok Sabha Secretariat issued a notification disqualifying him because of the judgment, and immediate disqualification kicks in. There is no doubt about that. Now, the immediate notification was sent to Election Commission, and they also notified the rules. But subsequently, that MP went to the Kerala High Court, which stated the conviction. And mind you, you have to understand, lots of people are confusing between suspension of conviction and suspension of sentence. Now, suspension of sentence is that the 3 months jail, 2 years jail will take effect after 30 days, time to appeal. But conviction, on conviction, immediately a person is stand disqualified. Now, but Election Commission doesn't have to immediately issue notification. They still have 6 months. Now, in the case of Lakshadweep, Supreme Court had to tell the Kerala High Court suspended the conviction, which means back to square one, the guy is innocent. Election Commission was asked by the Supreme Court to take back the notification for the by-poll. Election Commission to take it back. Now, all that exercise will become futile if 3 days later, a court of law, the Superior Court, suspends or stays the conviction. So they could have waited, and this undue haste was totally unnecessary. It is bad optics to me, because it will be, if suppose it gets undone in 4 or 5 days, then where do you stand?
So should that logic that applies to the Election Commission, and as I said, the Election Commission in its wisdom so far has not moved on the case. We do not know what happens tomorrow because, you know, things have moved very quickly when it comes to Rahul Gandhi. But can we apply the same logic to the Lok Sabha Secretariat as well, sir, to say that the Lok Sabha Secretariat acted in haste as well? Because we saw what the Kerala High Court did with the Lakshadweep MP. Like, you know, technically he's back to being an MP. It's a different issue that he's not being allowed inside the Lok Sabha by the Lok Sabha Secretariat. That's a different issue.
Yeah.
But should the Secretariat have waited as well?
Yes. You know, any Secretariat, if it is routinely prompt, is to be appreciated. But if it is selectively prompt, that raises a question. In this case, Lok Sabha Secretariat, which issued the notification of disqualification within 24 hours, and even after Supreme Court staying the election by election, because of Kerala High Court staying the conviction, they have not taken the MP back into the House. They are taking their own time. Now, what is this? If they were super efficient then, why are they not super efficient now? So it is bad optics. It does leave a question mark in the mind.
You know, I'm going to ask you a controversial question, and I hope you can be honest about it, because, you know, as they say, honesty is the best sunlight. The sunlight is the best disinfectant. Mr. Qureshi, will the decision by the Election Commission be influenced by the ruling dispensation of the day, that they will have no choice if the government asks them to call a by-poll? I know it's not for the government to call the by-poll. I understand that, but still.
Well, first of all, this is the wrong question to ask me because I can't be commenting on the election commission and it can't be speculative. How will they react? But my feeling is, suppose I was in the election commission, having burnt my fingers in Lakshadweep case, I will not be in a hurry. I have full 6 months, and because it was embarrassing for the election commission, and they should not be made to go through the same embarrassment all over again.
Okay, so Mr. Qureshi, my last question then. I promise I'm not trying to ask you trick questions or for you to say anything controversial. I'm just trying to understand the issue at hand here. If the Election Commission calls a by-poll in the next 24 to 48 hours or say by Monday, what will it tell us?
No, that will show that they have learned nothing from the Lakshadweep case. Lakshadweep case is absolutely clear that there was no need for that kind of a hurry because the possibility of the Lakshadweep case repeating itself, some court of law is staying the conviction, which will stay the entire action of the Election Commission and of the Lok Sabha Secretariat. That may happen in the next 3 days, 4 days, 10 days, 15 days. So, having learned their lesson, if they have, they should not be repeating it. This undue hurry will look very awkward and very bad. And if they have to take it back, if the conviction is stayed, they have to take back the notification. It doesn't show them in good light at all.
Okay. Dr. Qureshi, it's always a pleasure to hear you speak, always a pleasure to hear you give clarity on issues that can be a bit technical. Thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. Essentially, before I introduce my panel, essentially what Dr. S.Y. Qureshi is telling us is that the Election Commission has 6 months to decide when they want to call the by-polls in Wayanad. Wayanad is where Rahul Gandhi is an MP from. They've already burnt their fingers acting in hurry and haste as far as the Lakshadweep MP is concerned. So, going by precedent, and if they don't want to embarrass themselves, they will wait for a while. They will see what courts say in the matter, because it's obvious now that the Congress party is going to appeal the order of the Surat Sessions Court. They will wait to see what the Gujarat High Court says and then act. So they have 6 months. They don't need to hurry, is what Dr. S.Y. Qureshi is telling us. Let me quickly hurry though and get to our guests this evening. They've been waiting for the last 20-25 minutes. So let me first apologize to all of you and thank you very much for your patience. Really, thank you very much. I know it can be extremely irritating to be on panels and waiting for 20-25 minutes, and I know all of you have better things to do, probably have dinner. So thank you very much for waiting. Dharinder Tayal is a BJP leader. He's joining us on the broadcast. Ikram Sandhu, a spokesperson of the Congress party, back with us this evening. And Neerja ji, good evening. So good to see you. Senior journalist here. Neerja ji, I think I should come to you first.
Hello.
What do you make of everything that has happened in the last 24 hours, Neerja ji? Not 48 hours, 24 hours.
I know it shows how quickly political events are now moving, and it's a legal judgment, but with huge, huge ramifications for Rahul Gandhi personally, for the Congress party, for both. It's a setback, but there is a wider message which I think is more important politically. And that is a message, it is a shrinking of the opposition space, which has been going on, but this has furthered that reality. So I think what Rahul Gandhi will do, appeal whether his conviction gets stayed or his punishment gets reduced, and does he get back into parliament, all those things are question marks. As far as politics is concerned, there are visible signs with Rahul Gandhi out of the lead role of other parties coming together. I think that may facilitate opposition unity in the weeks to come. Let's see how it pans out. But the fact that Arvind Kejriwal was the first one to come to the support of Rahul Gandhi, Mamata Banerjee is also come in. These are parties that had, there was no love lost between these parties. And the real stumbling block was the leadership of Rahul Gandhi and the leadership of the Congress, under which the opposition unity could take place or could not take place, which many of the regional parties were opposed to. So I think, yes, it could give an impetus to the opposition unity. Number two, will it create sympathy for the Congress party, for Rahul Gandhi? Very early to say that. And the other question is, even if the sympathy is generated, will the Congress be able to take advantage of it as it is structured? Because, it's taken more than 12 hours for them to hit the streets. That was not the case when Indira Gandhi was disqualified in 1978. You had lakhs of people on the streets immediately. So the Congress is different, the government is different today, and the main question is, does the Congress have the will to take advantage of this situation? What will be Rahul Gandhi's role now? Will he continue to do what he was doing? Yatras, hitting the road, sitting with people. And maybe I say, could he also play the role of Sutradhar of opposition unity now that he will not be a claimant for the top job in 2024?
That's a good point, and we've seen a bit of, actually I would say the judgment has done the impossible. Get all opposition parties on one page. You have Mamata Banerjee and you have someone like an Arvind Kejriwal all speaking in the same language. So, it's good for opposition unity, I guess. Neerja ji, stay with me. Ikram, let me come to you, your spokesperson of the Congress party. You're joining us on this broadcast. Today's been a day of press conferences. I think there have been at least 5 or 6. And one of the things that the BJP has been saying, that the former Attorney General of this country, Mukul Rohatgi, who was on my show a little earlier on, has been saying, hey, this is the law. You defame someone, the maximum punishment is 2 years. That is what you have got. Once you have got 2 years, you're immediately disqualified. Why are you crying conspiracy? Why are you saying this is death of democracy? How's this death of democracy when the rule of the law has been upheld? Why are you playing victim?
Good evening to all. We are not playing victim here. We have always, you use that word, the spirit of the law. Why did Supreme Court come up with this law that if somebody is convicted for more than 2 years, that person will face automatic disqualification? It was for heinous crimes. You had parliamentarians who were convicted for murder, for moral turpitude, for big time, corruption and things like that. I don't think so anybody at that time ever thought that for giving a political speech during an election rally, a parliamentarian will be barred from attending parliament. So that is what we are saying, that this government, in its total vindictiveness to go after the opposition, will use everything in the book so that the opposition can be rammed into submission. That is the main thing. Now, in this case, what is it? It was Mr. Gandhi said something, and Mr. Rohatgi, I was listening very carefully, and he's a legal luminary. He acknowledged that the whole attack was on the Prime Minister. It was not on the Modi Samaj or on the OBCs that today they are making it out. If Mr. Rohatgi has that understanding, that is what the thing is. It was a political attack on the Prime Minister. It was a political attack on his statement of na khaunga, na khane dunga. And then people who were traveling with him, going with him to Davos, when they escaped with 13,500 crores of PNB money, that is what Mr. Rahul Gandhi said. But it was turned around in such a way, a spin was given to it, jurisdictions was not followed, loci standings were not followed, and this process, the process of law has been abused by
Sandhu,
the BJP. That is what we are saying here. That this law...
No, okay, the process of the law has been abused by the BJP. It's easy for you to say that, Mr. Sandhu. Hear me out. The fact is, can I start counting the number of legal eagles and luminaries you have in the Congress party? If you're saying the process of the law was abused, what were they doing? And I'm not asking this question today. The BJP is asking this question. That why was Rahul Gandhi not given the right advice in this case? What is the point of having such lamba chauda padha likha lawyers in your party if you can't come to the rescue of your own leader?
Look, we bow to the supremacy of the court. The magistrate court has come up with a decision. And we agree to that okay, it's their right to give that decision. But we differ that it is an erroneous decision and legally we will fight against it. And it is not the first time it has happened. I'll give you an example. Mr. Amit Shah 12 years ago was a Tadipar. Now, does that make him a Tadipar for life? Was Mr. Arun Jaitley a good for nothing lawyer because he was giving him legal advice? Sometimes things happen. But after that, the same courts exonerated him, and then he became the president of the BJP. Now he's the home minister of the country. So that is it. So this is not the end of it. What we are just saying is it is vindictiveness on the part of this current government, which by hook or by crook will bring in certain mechanisms of the law to hit against their opponents. And it will, and that is what we have to fight against.
Mr.
We'll fight
Tayar,
against it legally.
would you want to respond to that?
Yeah, certainly.
Mr. Tayar, respond to that, because the charge that has come to you, that has come the BJP's ways, this is the murder of democracy. यहाँ पे आप कुछ बोल नहीं सकते. The whole environment is either you are with us or you are against us. Opposition को खत्म करना है. ED भेजो, CBI भेजो, कुछ भी करो, courts लगाओ, suspend कर दो. The opposition has to be throttled and weakened to such an extent that there is no other party in this country except the BJP.
No, so what is being said, Shreya, is very, very interesting. Partly, of course, first, before, taking on Mr. Sandhu, I would want to train my guns on you. So beware. Because right from the beginning, you've been insinuating as if, everything is done in a hurry. Even somebody like Mr. Rothi has come and said nothing was done in a hurry. But even after that, you commented that things are being done in a hurry. So nothing is done in a hurry.
Mr. Tayar, I'm very happy for you to train guns on me, but we'll have to fix your audio. I'm very, very happy to have you train your guns on me, but we'll have to fix your audio. Can you give me a minute here so that my production team can do a quick audio check with you, and then you can fire as many missiles as you want to? All right. Neerja ji, there's something interesting that I heard in the newsroom. There were some young kids who were watching developments in the last 48 hours, and they tell me the BJP has actually done a favor to Rahul Gandhi. They've made him a martyr. They have made him bigger than he is. And he can go to the electorate, he can go to the people of this country and say, this is exactly what I was talking about.
I think
that there is no space for dissent in our democracy.
I think time will tell us whether that happens, whether he becomes a martyr. Depends on how he plays the game now. Much will depend on how the Congress plays the game now. As I said, the will that it shows, what I call in Hindi, the damkham that it shows, which it's been lacking. Much will depend on all that, whether they can turn the situation to their advantage. But there are other very serious, worrying things that are coming out here. While Rahul Gandhi's remark on Narendra Modi and calling him a thief with others, this was totally uncalled for. But ours is a very noisy democracy. Politicians get carried away, even though it's true that Rahul Gandhi has gone over the top in his formulation several times. But in a noisy democracy like ours, you made a very good point at the beginning. If you start to file cases of defamation against all those who are allegedly guilty, you will have 30% of your legislators out and disqualified. Legislators who are elected by the people of India. So our democracy, we've ridden this, we've overlooked this so far. But now there is a new trend, not only of using agencies, ED and CBI, there's also a trend of using the courts to fight political battles. And I think, I don't understand why, I don't blame the BJP that it's got that verdict done. I don't say that at all. And they are saying the due process will follow, all that is fine. But for BJP to hammer away at this, it's a very good thing that's happened. I don't understand fully, I'm not clear what advantage is coming to the BJP, a confident party all set to win the next round in 2024. And Rahul Gandhi was not a great orator in parliament, nor did he lead from the front except of this Adani affair more recently. So why, and to send a message that anybody who speaks has to think 100 times before what you say. In a democracy, that's not the way it happens. A confident nation rides all this and should ride all this. And therefore, 2 years for the court also to give 2-year sentence rather than a censure or a warning, knowing the huge political implications.
Excessive.
I don't know whether that's a desirable thing.
Yeah, excessive, many would say. And why 2 years when you know 2 years is the cutoff time to suspend a MP for 6 years? That is a conspiracy theory that has been used as well. Mr. Tayal, are we now a country where हमको जो बोलना है हम बोल नहीं सकते? सब कुछ सोच के बोलना पड़ेगा. Lest we offend someone and someone takes us to court. And then we are, left fighting the battle for 2 years and sentenced to 2 years in prison for saying something someone doesn't like. People in this country say something someone doesn't like all the time. In this show, only 20 things are said by me that my panelists don't like and by panelists that I don't like. कहाँ तक हम defamation करते रहेंगे, sir?
Okay, so coming back, number one, that is not the case. It is not a person. Let us understand what Gopal Italia, for example, said to the Prime Minister or to Mr. Modi. Number of people have said, here, you're talking about a whole community. You cannot do that. And at 52 years of age, you are not a novice. You are a leader of the largest opposition party. You have to be responsible. The other thing which Neerja ji said, which was that, maybe he could have been given a censure or a warning. He was given a warning by the Supreme Court, and that is what has been mentioned by the judge in his judgment, that despite having tendered an unconditional apology in the Supreme Court earlier, the person has not learned. So even to say that the warning had not been given, the warning had been given. Oh, am I audible?
Yes, absolutely.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, absolutely, Mr. Tayal, you are audible. Go ahead. You also wanted to rain in some missiles on me and my take. Please go ahead and do that.
Okay, no, they were not missiles, just minor bullets. So, right from the beginning, there was an insinuation that something was done in a hurry. Even though Mr. Mukul very clearly specified that nothing was done, actually, whatever it was all fait accompli, it was happening. So nothing was being done, and whatever has been done was of no consequence. So let us not even say that something was done in a hurry. The second thing was what Mr. Sandhu said, that suddenly he realizes that there is something called the spirit of the law. This was not such a heinous crime. Now, basically, what are we trying to get at? We're trying to get at that we want to reinterpret the law. Now, whether what crime, some yardstick has been set not by the BJP but by the Supreme Court, that okay, if a crime warrants 2 years of punishment, then it is heinous enough to get this punishment of the disqualification. And to say that this is BJP will do everything by hook or by crook. What has the BJP done in this by hook or by crook? Where is the BJP in this? And coming from a
well,
party,
the allegation is that the court has been fixed. Mr. Tayal, the allegation is that the court has been fixed. But
no, they
I'm saying the allegation is that the court has been fixed.
They have not said this. They have not said this.
Of course, the Congress party has said it, that the judge changed. The Congress party has said that it was only after the judge changed that they went to the High Court and said, "Hame wapas kar do Sessions Court mein." And the Sessions Court then, very quickly came out with this judgment. So that is what the Congress party has said. So they are saying that, there is a BJP hand in that as well.
So now the Congress party, in fact, that is what Mr. Gandhi said in UK also, that the press is bought out. I don't know whether it is. You would probably know better. The press is bought out. The judiciary is bought out. Election Commission is bought out. Everything is bought out. Yes, circumstantially,
I think you know the answer to that question.
But the Election Commission is bought out. Everything is bought out. But anyway, and what is the statement being given? That is very interesting. The statement says, this is the price I'm paying for speaking fearlessly and candidly and fighting for India's voice. Is India's voice saying Modis are like that? Is India's voice saying fearlessly you have to criticize a community and castigate a community? Is that your fearless speaking? And honestly speaking,
No,
as BJP,
India's
we
voice
do
is
not want
saying
to.
that we have the right to dissent, Mr. Tayal. India's voice is saying Mr. Rahul Gandhi is not the only voice representing India. I am also a voice representing India, and so are you. And all of us have different opinions. So is Mr. Sandhu. India's voice is saying dissent in democracy is important. They are not mutually exclusive, and that we are living in times where we are having to think 3 times before we say anything that is not exactly complementary to the ruling dispensation. That is what the voice of India is saying.
Two things I would want
that
to say.
That we are in a situation where we feel that if we criticize the Prime Minister, we have the ED and the IB and the CBI coming for us.
Two things I would like to say, Shreya. One, coming from a party that filed hundreds of FIRs against a journalist which called their leader by her real name. No invectives, nothing wrong, nothing bad, called her by her real name, and hundreds of FIRs were filed. What are we talking about? This is the party that's talking about it.
Okay.
What are we saying? So, second question, which I would want your readers to, your listeners to, to think about is, I mean, in all its wisdom, would BJP ever want to gag Mr. Rahul Gandhi? When he speaks, who does he do a greater favor?
Well, yeah.
To Congress or to us? let your viewers, let your
that's
viewers
something
answer
that is
this
being said since yesterday in jest. That is something that is being said in jest, that Rahul Gandhi is the BJP star campaigner, and not a good day for the BJP, etc. I understand all of that. Again, we'll just now have to wait and see what the Election Commission does now, because there is a bypoll to be called in Wayanad, and if that bypoll has to be called, will it be called in haste? Because the Election Commission has already burnt its fingers in the Lakshadweep MP's case. So will they wait, or will they call these elections in the next 48 hours or 72 hours? If they do, what does it say? I'm afraid I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much. This has been a good chat. I think we've got all views in. Mr. Tayal, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Sandhu, thank you very much. And Neerja ji, always good to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm slipping into a break. There's much more on the other side. At least a really interesting story on the other side. Do stay with us.